Good evening, I'm back. I'm your host, Jack Remington, Political Analyst. Today's video is the one you've been waiting for, what I've been teasing you about for 3 months. The one reason that Donald Trump has to go. Why they hate Donald Trump. Why they have tried to destroy this man and thrown everything, including the kitchen sink, at this man. Everything. They have tried everything to destroy this man. The one reason: he can't be bought.
Repeatedly in the 16 months I've been on the road.
About a vote difference of just about 10,000.
And she had been ahead in the numbers. So this is, if you're a Clinton person watching this, the numbers are going in the wrong direction.
There's one thing said about Donald Trump repeatedly in the 16 months I've been on the road. It's that this person, whatever his flaws, cannot be bought.
I'll say it again, he can't be bought.
Where are you guys from?
North Carolina.
And you said what about her?
That if she could vote, she would be voting for Trump.
Why you like Trump?
Trump 2020.
He's amazing.
Republican.
Very nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
Awesome, guys.
he can't be bought. That's why we love him.
Exactly, he can't be bought. Guy's a billionaire. Who's gonna buy him? No one.
Nobody.
Exactly.
And that's why the Democrats hate him,
Exactly.
because they can't buy him
Exactly.
and they can't control him.
I'll say it one more time. He can't be bought, and that kills them.
They hate Donald Trump because he's calling out their corruption. And they hate him because he's actually doing the things they promised America they would do. You see, both Democrats and Republicans used to say that they would move our embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, but Trump actually did it. Both sides said they were going to defeat terrorism, but Trump's actually doing it, without getting us into another war, I might add. Both sides would promise to stop illegal immigration, and now Democrats are fighting hard to stop Trump from stopping it. Both sides would say they stand for the Constitution, but Trump actually put constitutionalist judges on the courts. And both sides would talk about investing in minority communities, but Trump actually did it with opportunity zones and economic policies that saw the lowest black unemployment in history. Think about this. They tell us that Trump cut taxes for the rich, but then why do the rich mostly support Joe Biden? Why do the big banks support Biden? What's funny is that the narrative they're pushing is that these big banks care more about social justice, equality, and the Constitution than getting rich. Check out this quote from a Politico article talking about why the banks support Biden over Trump. Quote, "These contributions speak to the deep unease Democrats and many independents have with national policy on personal priorities such as equality, civility, and constitutionality," said Federal Financial Analytics Managing Partner Karen Petru, who advises bank executives on policy, unquote. Democrats have been in the streets for months burning down buildings, looting stores, and shutting down freeways. But yeah, these rich bankers are going to vote for Joe Biden because Trump and the Republicans don't prioritize civility. And many governors, mostly Democrats, have forced businesses closed, issued shelter-in-place orders, and even threatened to turn off power and water to businesses who don't obey their orders, but we're supposed to believe that multi-millionaire investment bankers are worried about the Constitution, so they support Joe. The truth is actually really easy to understand. These banks are a part of the swamp. They help the politicians write the rules that keep them rich and powerful, while the middle class keeps footing the bill. I mean, does anyone really believe that the big banks overwhelmingly support Biden because they want equality? Seriously? The left went from Occupy Wall Street to teaming up with Wall Street in less than a decade. It's amazing how powerful a narrative can be.
And here's this clip from Leslie Stahl from 60 Minutes, where she asks the president, "Why do you want this job?" Don't believe me? Take a look.
So we're heading up a lift just a little drop. Should be fine.
Am I okay?
You're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready. So we have the pandemic. On your watch, we've had racial strife, we've had looting. Why do you want this job? Why do you want to be president again?
Because we've done a great job and it's not finished yet.
Let me ask you a question. Why would someone ever ask a president, why would he want the job? She's never asked any other person she's ever interviewed for any political position why they wanted the job. Because it's expected. We've been brainwashed, we've been spoon-fed since we're this big, that's what politicians do. They gravitate towards these jobs, they become part of the elite in Washington, D.C. swamp, and they just take, okay? They don't care about us. They don't give a damn about us. They go for office, to run for public office, to enrich themselves first and foremost. Take care of their friends, their relatives, their children, put their sons and daughters on these boards, these companies like Mitt Romney, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and everyone else. They all do it, except Donald Trump. They hate him for that. They got mad because he made his son-in-law one of his advisors. Well, look at the positions that Nancy Pelosi put her son on. The same company that a guy named Hunter Biden. You heard of this guy named Hunter Biden? I've heard of him. I didn't know who he was till a couple months ago. Very few billionaires with a B, not millionaires, billionaires with a B. Very few ever run for office. This cycle we actually had 4 that actually got to a certain level. 3 for the Democrat Party and 1 for the Republican Party. And one is Donald Trump, of course, the Republican. But we had 3. We had Michael Bloomberg, Howard Schultz of Starbucks fame, and Tom Steyer. He's a real estate businessman from the state of California. And even though I'm from California, I don't know that much about Tom Steyer other than he kept saying Orange Man bad. That was his only point. And I don't think he got 1 delegate. He had to drop out. But very few billionaires ever run. But see, Donald Trump broke the mold. Donald Trump was the very first billionaire ever to run for office, and then right away there was speculation, well, maybe Oprah Winfrey will run next time. She's worth $4.1 billion, and she might be worth a little bit more than Donald Trump. We're not really sure. But we do know that her assets and her estimated wealth is easier to calculate than Donald Trump's. That we know for sure. So long story short, Oprah Winfrey, thank God, is not going to run, or what her campaign motto would be, or what her womantra, not her mantra, her womantra would be. But those 4 words I keep talking about, the 4 words for this video, he can't be bought, should come first and foremost in every politician, not just billionaires. So we should have known that when you get a billionaire, you're going to get someone who can't be bought. And he also donates his $400,000 a year presidential salary. He's one of 3 presidents to do that. Do you know who the other 2 were? I bet you don't. So let's go in chronological order. First one was Herbert Hoover, then John F. Kennedy, and now Donald Trump. Okay, they're the only 3 to ever donate their presidential salary. Okay, do you really think Hillary Clinton's going to donate her salary if she'd have won in 2016? If you do, I got some beat up comic books that I can't sell on eBay to total junkers. I'll sell them to you for $100 a piece, a cut rate price. Just email me on my eBay channel and we'll do some business, believe me. But why they hate? Why all this hate though to someone who can't be bought? So I want to answer that question with a question. What is the opposite of someone who can't be bought? The opposite is someone who can be bought, on the take, taking a position to get the money, feather their own nest, line their own pockets. Okay, these hippie bums go to these little snick snack things. They go to these open houses. They go to every kind of community event, and they take the little Tupperware things in their pocketbooks and they just put food in them, and it's all for them. They contribute nothing. Okay, that's what the politicians do when they run for office. They're going to line their pockets. They think you really think they're going to help you? Try to get a phone call with one of these representatives in your district, wherever you're at in this country. Do me a favor, make a phone call, pick up the phone, and say, I'm going to talk to my representative for the House of Representatives in my district, in my state. You know what you're going to get? You're never going to get that representative. You're never going to get that person. Never, never, never. That hasn't happened in probably 50-some years, if not longer. Okay, you're going to get a staffer. That staffer is going to tell you XYZ is in the D.C. office or not available or on a vacation day, or whatever the case is. You're not going to talk to that staffer. Now, if you say, my aunt just died, she left me $10 million, I want to give you 10% of that, that's $1 million, I want to give you a donation for your campaign, but I want to meet you first. I guarantee that staffer is going to get the chief of staff, no matter where they're at. Okay, D.C., county office, whatever. There's 3 offices for every House of Representative. You'll get the chief of staff on the phone, and he'll say, I can make arrangements for you to meet the person at the very earliest date. You will be first on the person's list, and December 1st at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, you will be the first person that she's going to welcome to her office. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do, and I've had a guy tell me, a friend of mine in Nevada, he said that when he made a big jackpot hit in one of the casinos, in the Showboat, many, many years ago when the Showboat was open, he called Harry Reid when he was starting out and said, hey, I just won this big jackpot thing. I hit something big, and I got an extra $50,000, and I can't claim it because I'm whatever. He wasn't eligible to claim it. The real reason why I think it was he wasn't an American citizen. He was still a resident of Romania. Long story short, he calls Harry Reid's office and they send a limo out for him. They said, we're going to send you out for limbo, and if he can make it back in time for his plane flight from Washington, D.C., he'll meet you tonight. But if not, the limo will take you back to wherever you live in Vegas, wherever you're staying in Vegas. When he gets in the next morning, you'll be first on the priority list. And sure enough, he was, but he didn't really have the $50,000. He made Harry Reid's gopher boy, or his chief of staff, or one of the staffers from the Harry Reid's office, go from Carson City all the way down to Las Vegas. The casino he was at was in Las Vegas. The Harry Reid's office was in Carson City. That's the state capital of Nevada. Long story short, he decided not to give Harry Reid the money, and his excuse was, well, you weren't going to meet me. He goes, well, I'd have met you if you had the $50,000. So it kind of went like that. I'm not a big fan of Harry Reid anyway, so I can share that story. I don't care if it gets out, and I don't care who contacts me, because it's a true story. I can back that up. I'm in California. If I call my representative, right now it's the Democrats, Julia Brownley. If I ever called her office and said, I want to meet with you, I'm going to talk to you about the ICE problem in my county with the illegal aliens, I'm going to get a staffer. And she's going to tell me, well, you can read Mrs. Brownley's statement in her position about how he's supposed to welcome everybody on her website. And I'm going to say, well, you know what, I disagree with that, and I would like to meet with her in person and outline a few things. I'll only meet with her for 15 minutes. She said, well, no, you can't do that, and, we're busy, and she can't meet everybody. Then why are you a House representative of the people if you can't meet with the people? So, and then the lady would hang up on me. How do I know this? Because I've done something similar to that, and they've hung up on me. Long story short, she's not going to meet with me. She's not, especially if she finds out that I'm the right of the Attila the Hun. When she hears that, she won't meet me for sure, because she's not going to sure if I'm going to yell at her or kill her or whatever, or hurt her or beat her staff up or whatever. She's not sure what's going to happen. She's not going to like that. She's not going to like me. She was not going to like me when she finds out that I'm a Republican, a hardcore Republican. She is not going to like me. She's going to have serious contempt for me and nothing but disdain for me. Okay, and that's never going to change. If I could join her party tomorrow and then donate maybe $100, that will never change. She'll gladly take my money, but she won't never respect me. Okay, and that is the same for all the House representatives out there that's in office today. They're not going to represent. They're not going to respect you. Most of them have serious disdain for you. There's a rare exception. Senator Cruz of Texas is one of them. I've heard nothing but good things. I mean, I'm trying to find something on Ted Cruz, and I can't find it. I mean, he's not well liked in his state, but that's the other side. There are some people in government. The governor of South Dakota, a very personable person. She's very nice. There are some politicians out there that are not on the take, but they're very few. Notice I didn't mention any Democrats, because I don't know any Democrats that are not on the take. And have you ever seen a poor congressperson? If you can find me a poor congressperson, I will quit my channel right now and give you the credit for it. I will have a farewell video. I will have an exit video saying, so-and-so brought me the irrefutable evidence that we have a poor congressperson living underneath the bridge in a box, and squandered a $187,000 a year job for the 2 years that they had it, and whatever assets they had, they were able to steal when they were in office and accumulate or graft or grift or whatever, okay? And I will give that person the credit, and that person can forever now brag that they got me off YouTube, okay? And I will stop my channel. Have you ever seen a poor congressperson, yes or no? I already know the answer. The answer is no, okay? You're not going to find it. They run for office because it's the highest paying job you could ever possibly have, and there's no qualifications to run for the job except for president. The borders open. They don't care about what China's ripping the secrets off. They don't care about the tariffs. In fact, they're against the tariffs. Why are they against the tariffs? Why are they against Donald Trump's tariffs? Because they are all invested in China. There's no money to be made in America anymore. Why would you try to make money in America where you got regulations and you got Obama putting everything on the factories where they can't function, and you putting stuff on the cars where cars can't get any mileage, and you put all these restrictions, despite all the headway in the last 80 years that people have cut down on pollution. Despite all that, they don't talk about that. That doesn't fit their narrative. They can't be the good guy anymore. Okay? If they try to bash people that stop the pollution, they'd be the bad guy. So they're very careful how they do that. And the people have bought it hook, line, and sinker. They have bought it hook, line, and sinker. I'm here to tell you, Donald Trump can't be bought. And that was the first step, okay? And you're thinking, well, okay, so he can't be bought. Well, that's still not enough reason to know why the Democrats and some of the GOPers or some Republicans want him gone. Well, yes, they do. Look at Senator Flake. I'm driving to work one day, and I hear this interview from NPR, which they should stop because they were anti-Trump too. And Senator Flake talked about his family and his grandfather having ranches all scattered throughout Arizona, and they were completely dependent on. He ran against LBJ in 1964. He only won 5 states, but Arizona was the reddest state we had. Arizona was the top Republican state because the people would retire and they would go to Arizona, okay? And they were white people, okay? Sue me, Whoopi Goldberg, sue me. And Oprah, you too, you both can sue me. And I'll win the countersuit because I'm right. Donald Trump can't be bought. The Democrats, that's just how it is. Well, guess what? Senator Flake turned on Donald Trump. I kept thinking, why are people bashing the president? Well, it's the immigration policy, okay? Justin Amash from Michigan. I don't exactly remember what district he's in. I want to say the 12th district. He got mad because Donald Trump, he moved the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And guess what? This Justin Amash, I've never heard of him before. And I'm a Republican representative. I don't care. I want the man gone. I want him impeached. I thought, why? And my friend told me, my Palestinian friend, I have 2 of them, if you can believe that. One of them is actually probably the best friend I have. He told me, he goes, Jackie, Justin Amash is Palestinian. I said, so? Jack, he said, don't you get it? I said, no, I don't. I don't have no dog in that fight. I'm half Italian and half American Indian and Irish. You know, I don't have any Jewish blood in me. I don't have any Palestinian and Middle East blood in me. I do know of it, but I have no dog in the fight, and I never have. And he goes, Jackie, it's a cultural thing with the Palestinians. I said, just drop it and move on. Okay. A couple months later, now he wants them impeached again. Why? And I said, what happened? It's Jackie. He goes, Donald Trump put the tariffs on China, and Justice Amash's family doesn't have not 1, not 2, but he has 3 tool and die factories scattered throughout China, or more, 3 or more. And this cost him $1 million a year, and Justice Amash and his family went through the roof. Now Donald Trump's got to go. So the Michigan GOP got a hold of him and said, hey, look, you can't do this. We're going to do something about you because you can't be bashing our president and he's a Republican and you're in the Republican Party in Michigan and you won your last race. And he goes, okay, so, but I can't switch to Democrat. I'll never win because he's in a wealthy state. He's in a wealthy district. And so his register is independent. Go look it up for yourself. Now, why China? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about China Joe. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Tomorrow is the day of the election. I can't get into that. But what I can get into is there's not much money to be left and made in investment in America. I mean, there is, but it's slow, hard money. Okay, the easy money was made in the 1950s and 60s with still the unparalleled growth in this country. The 1950s was the greatest decade in the history of any country in recording of man. Okay, there will never ever be another development of the 1950s, the New York Stock Exchange, and with share creation, shares of companies creation, General Electric, Remington Rand, became Sperry Rand, the space age, McDonnell Douglas, Boeing, all these companies, they started making millions and billions worth of shares they were issuing and they were getting scarfed up. The 1950s, low inflation, the World War II was over, the GIs collated back into the economy, they were getting jobs, high paying jobs, creating their own families, they were branching out, suburbia became the big thing. There will never be a decade like the 1950s ever again in the history of man, ever. The 1980s came close. The 1980s is actually probably the second biggest creation of wealth and the expansion of wealth in this country. Okay, and then followed by the 1920s. But the 1920s led to the Great Depression because it was all on debt and credit. Okay, and what worries me now is that we got this $28 trillion deficit that no one seems to know anything about. No one's talking about it. No one seems to care, including Donald Trump. But I'll get to that later. But the 1950s, there will never be, ever be a decade like that ever again. Believe it or not, the politicians in the 1920s and 30s cared about its people on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats used to be for the working unions, the working party, and Republicans were kind of for everybody too. But at the time they tended to lean towards the richer people, and that's just that's not a criticism of either party. That'll come later. Over time, it's changed. And the politicians in the 1920s and Congresses of the Great Depression, they closed the borders. I mean, they closed California down flat, and they would not let any illegal aliens come over to get the farm work because they knew the Americans needed the jobs. So in those days, the Congress people were actually decent people. They still cared and were for the people. We the people, for the people. I can say that about the Congresses in the 1920s and 30s. The ones today, I'm sorry, we got thrown overboard in around 1970, and it's been downhill ever since. And I'll just leave it at that for now. Donald Trump can't be bought. And He's upset the apple cart. The Democrat Party, okay, it owns all the media outlets. Now you know why the news media. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and the Orange Man bad. 10,000. Now it's up to 20,000 lies. They have a little Pinocchio thing column now, and everything Donald Trump says they try to turn into a lie. They twist his words around, like this Governor Cuomo. You know, he contradicts himself, like this Dr. Fauci. You know, and I have another video coming out. Dr. Fauci on March 8th on 60 Minutes, the #1 TV journalist thing that's been going on for I don't know how many years. It's the longest running TV news broadcast show. No one ever come along and beat this thing, which is a shame because they're in the tank for the Democrats, okay? 60 Minutes is sponsored. The people that own CBS, they're all Democrats, okay? These very wealthy billionaires, and Joe Biden has raised $340-some million more dollars than Donald Trump from the rich people. So the parties have switched, if you want to call it that. The Democrats have the big buck donors now, and now Donald Trump is actually for the working people. It's kind of switching a little inversed here a little bit, but I think that's going to change back. It's going to change back in 2024, possibly 2028. It's going to depend, and I'm going to say some things about the election in my next video.